Whenever someone asks me what my favorite show of all time is, I usually say Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And if that person was in their mid-20s like I am, they would probably say, huh? Why? And that's a hard question to answer, especially in 2020. I was 4 years old when Buffy came on the air in the WB, so I don't expect anyone my age to, one, know what Buffy is or even have an opinion about it. And then it hit me like a well-crafted 90s pun.
Angel, better put on your game face.
I'm ready.
I needed to re-watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And that was scary. And no, I wasn't scared because the show is about vampires. It doesn't scare me, guys. No, see, I was scared because there's been a ton of amazing TV shows to come on the air since Buffy stopped airing. Was a show from the 90s going to measure up to the golden age of television? Maybe I only liked this WB teen drama in the first place because I was a teen and I didn't know any better. Maybe after more than a decade of watching prestige TV, I'd realized that Buffy was a relic of the past. And at first, those fears were confirmed. Buffy Season 1 and pretty much all of Buffy was shot in 4:3 aspect ratio. Like, the first season genuinely looks cheap. Look at the special effects, for crying out loud. That was hard to get into, but after a while, something started to change. In the beginning of my rewatch, I was forcing myself to watch episodes. It stayed on in the background while I looked at my phone or read something on my computer. Sure, I'd bob my head to the theme song. It still slaps, y'all. But mostly, I'd roll my eyes at the 90s WB cliches, but that's just exterior. The interior of Buffy, the thing that really powered the show, was storytelling. And good storytelling doesn't age. There are probably dozens of video essays about how Buffy is great, but I want to talk about something Buffy does uniquely great: tragedy. John Truby, in his book The Anatomy of Story, says the key to tragic storytelling is heightening the sense of the hero's might have been and lost potential, while also showing that the hero's actions are his responsibility. And if this doesn't describe Buffy, then I don't know what does. Buffy has responsibility and power thrust upon her without her permission, a responsibility that robs her of the might-have-been life of a regular teenage girl. And Angel, a vampire with a soul, cursed to never feel true bliss, fits Aristotle's definition of a tragic hero to a T, a person who must evoke a sense of pity and fear in the audience. Then there's the ever-unfolding mythology of the show, which puts our lovable characters in ever-increasingly precarious situations that force them to make impossible choices. So yeah, there's tragedy galore. But every show puts their characters in danger. The thing that makes Buffy unique, especially for its time, is that writer and show creator Joss Whedon allows them to also feel the full weight of the consequences of their actions. Consequences that many times are not wrapped up by the end of the hour. Let's take one particular episode as an example. And to do that, I'm going to need some help from the biggest Buffy fan I know, my brother. Dan? You there?
Oh, hey, Andrew.
I'm stuck because I need a good example of Buffy's use of tragedy and tragic storytelling. Do you think you can help?
Absolutely. I mean, the most obvious answer is the season 2 finale.
Okay, in a vacuum, this looks like any soap opera-y moment from a WB teen drama at the time. You have two gorgeous actors making out while a tender piano medley plays underneath. And then a character dies. But for those who have watched the show, you know this moment wrecked you. We're talking dropped my piping hot Hot Pocket on the floor in shock while immediately scrambling to insert the first disc of season 3 levels of wrecked. Okay, maybe that's just me. Using Truby's requirements for tragedy, here's why this moment works.
Okay, so remember how Andrew referred to Angel as a tragic hero? Well, part of that tragedy involves the curse thrust upon him. The only way Angel can lose his soul is if he experiences a moment of perfect happiness.
I just wanted us both to be happy.
Oh, but I am happy. Perfectly happy.
Talk about tragic. And this tragedy is only enhanced as Buffy and Angel fall in love, which is what you as an audience member want more than anything. Angel is the only person who understands Buffy, so of course you want them to smoochy smooch. But happiness makes for bad drama. Remember, tragedy is losing the might-have-been ideal as a consequence for a particular choice or action. Buffy and Angel lose their relationship, their might-have-been, as a direct result of taking their relationship to its furthest, happiest point. And boy, do they suffer the consequences. Every season of Buffy has a big bad, the main antagonist of the season. And the big bad of the previous season was an entertaining vampire with no emotional connection to Buffy. But when the love interest becomes the main threat, it creates personal conflict for our hero. Saving the world means losing her lover. Angel gets busy creating mayhem. Along with Spike and Drusilla, Angel summons the Judge, a demon that can't be killed by any weapon forged, which leads to one of my favorite scenes in the entire show.
No weapon forged can stop me.
That was then. This is now.
This is a wonderful moment of not only comedy, but subversion as well. Anyway, that's not the main point. This all leads up to Buffy and Angel fighting. Buffy has the chance to kill Angel, but she can't.
You can't do it.
But the consequence of letting him go only creates more tragedy. By not killing Angel, Buffy puts more innocent people in peril.
Give me time.
Angel now has a new plan. Summon the demon Akathla. Apparently, when the first demon you summon fails to do his job, you just have to summon an even greater demon. There, problem solved.
We learn that Angel's blood is the only thing that can open and close Akathla's world-eating vortex. This sets the stage for the ultimate tragic choice. If Buffy doesn't kill Angel, the world will be consumed into hell. Facing the consequences of your actions is what being an adult is all about. And Season 2, thematically, is about the main characters becoming adults. Hence, the name of the episode.
In order to become the Slayer, an adult, Buffy must do the impossible. She must reconcile the internal contradiction between her job as the Slayer and her love for Angel. After a pretty cool sword fight, and I mean, who doesn't like a cool sword fight? Willow's spell finally works. Angel's soul is returned. But before our lovers can enjoy this moment, Akathla's world-eating vortex opens. Like all great Greek tragedies where the protagonist is forced to make an impossible choice as a result of a detached higher power's will, Buffy is forced to kill her soul-restored lover because that's the only way to close the vortex. Being an adult means doing what you have to, especially when you don't want to. So far, the writers have lined up all the chess pieces to create a tragic checkmate for Buffy. She must kill her might-have-been. And so she does. In a time where the modern versions of Buffy, Arrow, Flash, even the Marvel Cinematic Universe, constantly alleviate the stakes season after season and movie after movie, it's refreshing to watch a show that understands that tragedy works because of consequences. Sure, Angel comes back to life, but Buffy and Angel never get their might-have-been scenario. So many modern genre shows and movies try to create tragedy by simply killing characters off, but they never set up an appropriate level of might-have-been, nor do they stake the death in responsibility or choice. It rings hollow.
We're still friends, right?
Depends on how hard you hit me.
The character needs to lose something the audience wants as well. If the loss a character suffers is an easy decision in the writing process, then it's going to be all too easy for the audience to accept it or take it for granted. You can film it as a tragedy, sure, but it won't feel tragic. Buffy might be aged in certain respects. Its references, special effects, quality of the image, but its commitment to tragic, character-driven storytelling is still fresh. The real tragedy is that more shows aren't willing to have their characters live with the consequences of their actions. Tragedy is about making the hard choice, and many franchises make that choice far too easy. And we, the audience, are the ones who suffer the consequences.